Live from Washington, D.C., we bring you to the Verizon Center, the home of the Wizards. A quick check now at the starting five for both teams. One of the guys we'll be watching out for today, lights out.
And can you ever remember him getting his confidence shaken? I mean, it just doesn't seem like he's ever bothered by any adversity or any pressure.
And you know what? He is also relentless on the boards. He works as hard on his rebounding as anybody you're going to see.
The Washington Wizards come into this one after their win against the Hawks in Atlanta.
And it was the role players in that game, Kevin, that really led the charge. You know, the guys who normally don't score a lot, they came in and really contributed.
A total team performance, Steve, the kind you need if you're going to win on the opponent's home floor. For the Wizards, I thought injuries are a big reason they didn't have the season they hoped for. They do have some things they can build off of, though. The one that sticks out to me was how they were able to improve their defense last year and became pretty good at limiting easy shots.
It's his first trip to the line. No good on the free throw. And he can't make the second free throw either, missing both. On defense, the Wizards. Let's catch up with Doris from the sideline.
I spoke briefly with Randy Whitman. He said a big key for them will be containing Carlos Boozer offensively, adding, he's a player who can spread the floor with his jump shot or take you down the block, and it's tough to match his strength inside. Defensively, they'll look to keep length in front of him and limit his offensive rebounding. Sounds like a good game plan, guys. We'll see how they do it.
Thank you, Doris. And going back to what you said, Clark, about the Wizards, they did improve dramatically in terms of defense and had one of the top 10 Ds in the league. Steve, not bad for a team that is clearly building around youth.
And that's a great sign, because normally when you have young players, you struggle defensively more than at the offensive end. So this is a group that has plenty of potential, and I think we're seeing that this season, you know, as they continue to get better in terms of rebounding and defending the paint.
And it's sent back by Noah. Butler with the ball, now defended by Doc. Rose goes in, and they will get the basket here, folks, as they rule goaltending.
He didn't get to that one quite in time, Kevin. Those can be tough to gauge sometimes.
Now you can tell what the crowd thinks about that call.
Yeah, they erupted as soon as the whistle blew.
So timeout called here, the first for Washington. And going against Chicago, their first meeting of the season. So for the Wizards, Ryan Anderson, he's checked in for lights out. Harden comes in for Doc. The Mavericks sub in for Clutch.
You know, to me, one reason why Carlos Boozer is such a valuable scorer is that he can hurt you in a multitude of ways inside. He can hit the rainbow jumper of his, and when he's back to the basket, can go over both shoulders very well.
And here's Rose after the three-pointer from Maverick. And down it goes, jamming that one home. Savage, that's the way to get some momentum on your side.
Absolutely. Those dunks can really have a deflating effect on the defense.
Especially coming from a guy out of the backcourt.
And for Boozer, you remember the story. Growing up in Alaska, his dad tied his right hand to his waist, so he'd have to develop his left, and that was something that he worked on even more when he went to Duke.
Well, yeah, his left hand is fantastic. I mean, that's his preferred hand when he's finishing around the rim. A right-handed jump shooter, but anything around the basket is usually his left. So he probably owes his dad a debt of gratitude for tying him up all the time.
That's one way to put it. Here's Butler following the bucket by the Wizards. Just two to shoot. Here's Deng. Again, Chicago. Last game for Chicago, it was a loss to Los Angeles.
Well, with the number of turnovers they had in that game, guys, it was going to be an uphill battle all the way.
Well, especially, Steve, when you couple the turnovers with the soft defense they were playing. I mean, that's a bad combination. Turning it over and then not defending.
Now Butler after the missed three by Carmelo. And Boozer backs in. Back to Rose. No one. And it's James Harden with the rebound. Washington's gone 1 of 2 from long range in the first quarter. Right at the free throw line. No good from Maverick. Chicago's gone 0 of 2 from deep here. And the dunk by Rose.
Rising high to throw that one down.
Sky high. Fantastic one-hand jam.
Yeah, what a way to wrap up that possession.
Well, the Bulls battled in last year's postseason. Got a Game 7 win in Brooklyn to sneak out of round one in what was one of the more interesting series of the first round, but then fell to the Heat in round two.
I think he's best as a spot-up shooter. When he can play off of his teammates and find openings on the perimeter, just catch and shoot. Got a quick release, beautiful stroke.
He does such a nice job of getting himself squared up and in perfect position before the ball gets there, preparing before the pass.
And for the Bulls, no Rose the whole time, and they had questions constantly being asked if he would return, but the team came together, Steve, and showed the Bulls aren't just a one-man show.
You know, they missed him, though, Kevin, and desperately. I thought they performed admirably, but they really needed him against the Heat. They were able to steal game one in that Eastern Conference semifinal matchup, but without him, the Bulls just didn't have enough firepower to beat Miami.
A three off the inbound. A nice shot by Lin.
Tell you what, he is so difficult to guard, especially on a shot like that one.
Bulls trail by 5.
Tell you what, it's hard to argue with the record for Coach Tom Thibodeau of the Bulls, but the rumor mill has it that the front office hasn't been happy with how hard he's ridden his top players. Luol Deng missed time last season with the hamstring injury. Joakim Noah came down with plantar fasciitis. Hey, those things happen, and I'm not quite sure you can put that at the feet of Tom Thibodeau.
And going back to Tom Thibodeau and that minutes load on his stars, it seems it's getting harder for players to weather big minutes, Steve, these days.
I think it's going to be really interesting going forward to see this Bulls team this year and beyond. Will that wear them down? Their guys play too many minutes. They've had a lot of injuries. I think it's time to scale back a little bit on the minutes played.
And here we go. Washington finished break. Harden's got the ball. And Okafor slams it in.
Back to 2 more points onto their lead with the tomahawk.
That's bringing it down hard. And the first time out of the game called for Chicago.
Well, they were getting run ragged out there. Good time for a timeout. Maybe it was even too late, but this club has to regroup now.
Well, I tell you what, it wasn't pretty, and they definitely needed to take a minute to talk things over.
Wizards making a switch here. And here's a list of players that have been coming through for their team on both ends of the floor. The point guards with the most steals over the course of the last month. And you look at Clutch, always dangerous on the court. He leads the league.
And all those swipes have come for him because of the endless energy he devotes defensively. And whoever he's guarding, he just stays so close to him on the perimeter.
Yeah, he's the guy, if you're an opposing point guard, that you dread having to go up against. I mean, you don't want to see this guy because, like you said, he's going to be all over you. Like bees on a pop can at a picnic. That's how much he hovers around you.
You got away with words, my friend.
5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Heinrich with it. Now guarded by Doc. Dunleavy dishes to Heinrich. Passes it to Henry. Just 5 on the clock. Back to Heinrich. And boy, that looked like goaltending. Yes, it is. And so they will award the basket there.
You got there late, but you do have to like the aggressiveness to go after the block. But that one's going to count.
Fans don't like that call one bit.
Well, the officials got an earful as a result.
Here's Hugh. That misses. Would have counted had it gone in. And that does it for the first quarter. Now the second quarter getting ready to start up. Let's look at the energy stats, how the hustle game has been going for the Wizards.
Boy, their frenetic defense has really been impressive, putting a lot of pressure on ball handlers and turning them over.
The other thing that's helped them early tonight are the points they've been able to convert off turnover.
In a moment now to reset the lineups, courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up for the second quarter of basketball. So the Wizards 5 right now. Lights out there with Ryan Anderson. And there's Doc. Then there's Kevin McLeod. And it's Clutch in at the 5. Now let's go to Doris Burke. Doris?
There's no doubting, guys, that point guard Derrick Rose is the toast of his hometown of Chicago. But Rose has never been the type to court that kind of attention, preferring to keep his head down. He said, quote, "My whole life, I was always the one everyone was talking about. I've never really wanted the attention, but it has always been there. And the better I play, the more attention I get. But I hate attention. It's weird. I'm in a bind. Kevin, back to you.
Yeah, he's a piece of work, isn't he? Thank you, Doris. Catching up on the changes for Chicago. Joakim Noah, he's checked in for Muhammad. And Carlos Boozer is subbed in for Taj Gibson. Now here's Teague. Snell, defended by Long. Fires from the line. And he connects with the jumper.
Shooting much better here in the second quarter.
Yeah, their offense has really come alive. Can they come back and even it up? That's the question.
Washington leading now by 7. Here's Hugh. The three-pointer is right on target. Clutch has got 5 points now in the quarter.
And of all the things about him that you like offensively, it's his composure that jumps out at me. The way he never gets rattled. The defense can get in him. He doesn't care. He just continues to do his thing.
And you know what? He's like a tank when he's coming down the lane. Lay into him as hard as you can. You're not going to be able to knock him off balance.
Boozer, no good.
Well, it's easy to see the effect that Derrick Rose has on the team when you look at the stats for the Bulls offensively last year. You know, this is a team that prides itself on defense, but without Rose, they really struggle to shoot and score efficiently all season.
Now here's Heinrich after the miss from Long. Pass to Doc. All sorts of time. Again, the Wizards good for 2. Chicago calls timeout. Clark, as you said about the Bulls, their effective field goal percentage was second lowest in the league, and it was definitely hurt by not having their superstar point guard and Derrick Rose, Steve.
Well, you think about what he does for this team. You know, now that he's back healthy, I mean, breaking down defenses, creating shots in transition, making a shot at the end of the shot clock. Those were all things the Bulls missed last season.
Here's Butler after the made shot from Doc. Rose, good.
Wow, he was just wide open there. That's way too easy.
Clutch the pass to McHale. Carlos Boozer pulls it in. Boozer's got 3 rebounds now in this one.
Well, you know, Carlos Boozer wasn't as efficient last season as we've seen in the past, and I think in large part it was due to the extended absence of Derrick Rose. He was the bailout option for the team on many occasions. Really hard to decide, guys, which was better, the pass, the catch, or the slam.
Clark, there's no wrong answer to that one, my friend. Sensational alley-oop all the way around.
Agreed.
All of the above.
Here's Rose after Emeka Okafor scored. Now Rose. He had a 36-point outing in the last game against the Lakers. Count that one. And Clark, for Boozer, you talked about his offensive efficiency. Strong, physical player, but he only averaged about, Steve, I think like 3 free throws a game last season.
Well, he's a fadeaway jump shooter. He's an excellent offensive player, pretty efficient in his scoring. But most of his post-ups end up in fadeaway jump shots, and that's why he doesn't get to the line very often.
Time called here. The Wizards decide to talk it over. And during the timeout, both coaches getting a chance here to review the strategy at this point of the game, along with the discussions. Also some rehydration going on with Gatorade. Everyone trying to bring their top game here tonight.
Yeah, that's why you see the traders going around to every player, making sure they're hydrated, they're getting enough to drink during the game. So important to hydrate yourself and keep yourself strong and ready to play for these big minutes down the stretch.
Knocked loose. Rose against Land. Rose kicks to Butler. And it's off from three-point range. Wizards leading by 11. Here's Lynn. And it's blocked. The Bulls have gone 5 of 8 from the floor here in the second quarter. Over 60% shooting. And there's a whistle. That goes on Jeremy Lin. That's foul number 2 for him.
Boy, that's his second foul, and he does not want to pick up number 3 here. That'll mess your game up for sure.
Now here's Dang. He had a 15-point outing in their last game against the Lakers.
And his work on the glass, certainly noteworthy. He contributed in a number of ways.
And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, over to you.
Gentlemen, last season it seemed there was a little back and forth between head coach Tom Thibodeau and the Bulls front office regarding the big minutes he gave his starters. Thibodeau said, quote, "It's never the right amount of minutes. That's the only thing I know. If a guy's not playing big minutes, it's not enough minutes. Then if a guy's playing big minutes, it's too many minutes. So you play to win. That's the whole thing. And when you're a young team, guys can handle minutes." But guys, both Dang and Noah missed significant time. Noah only playing 66 games in the regular season. Dang out through the last 7 games of the playoffs. You wonder if maybe they have a point.
They've worked to round out the roster, Coach. That should help those minutes stay down. And Rose drops them both.
I think when you look at Derrick Rose, fellas, the most intimidating thing about him is his elite speed. But you also have to consider his size. He's well put together, about 6'3", maybe just a shade over 200 pounds. He is a handful when he's coming at you fast with that strong body and explosiveness.
Now Butler. After the missed 3 from Clutch. The kick out to Dang. Back to Butler. Some nice ball movement by the Bulls. 6 on the shot clock. And here we go. The Wizards' fast break finishes the break with a slam.
Textbook example there of how to use defense to create offense.
Yes, beautiful transition play after the steal all the way to the basket.
Wasted no time going from defense to offense.
Well, it feels like they're starting to pick up the intensity as the game itself starts to get a little more tight and close.
That's good. 10 points for Derrick Rose.
You know, the only tough part of that basket for him was getting into such good position. The rest of it seemed easy.
What a play. Simply drains it in at the buzzer.
How about that one? A perfect finish.
Now, presented by Sprint.
And everything is in place and ready to go on the halftime show for this Wednesday night. Washington leading against Chicago. And offensively, just filling it up, making the pass to the open man, generating opportunities. They are piling up points in a hurry. Clutch making it happen again tonight, coming off their win against the Atlanta Hawks. He's got 13 points, and it's been a good overall defensive game for him. He's brought a nice intensity to the floor in this one. Memphis.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
And we welcome you back. A picturesque view here of the Capitol building here in Washington, D.C.
And what a game for Clutch. He's got 13 points, and the three-pointers have been dropping for him. He's got 3 of them.
Well, as long as he's continuing to make them, I think they should make him more of a focal point of this offense.
So for Chicago right now, Dang and Boozer, they make up the forwards. D. Rose and Jimmy Butler, the backcourt. And it's Noah in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. Poked away. Here's Long. It's good from long range. Long's got the first bucket of a third here for the Wizards.
And he's the type of player who, when he gets it going, it is almost impossible to cool down. Coaches will call a timeout sometimes just to take away some of the momentum that he provides for that play.
And Steve, he's as level-headed a player as there is. If there's ever been an occasion when he's gotten flustered, I can't recall it. I've not seen it. Beautiful feed off the bounce to his teammate there. Nicely done.
There's the pass to Doc. And about a minute of action so far in the third quarter. Rose up on top. He's got 10.
And that's 10 straight points in the paint. Defensively, the wind has just been knocked out of their sails.
Need to get more bodies committed down low.
Gets the bucket. 15 points for Clutch.
Man, a gaping hole in the defense that time, and he didn't waste any time getting through it.
Time called here. The Bulls decide to talk it over. Look at Clutch. He's really been playing well.
He just continues to light them up. They're going to have to find a way to make him work harder for his point.
Here's what Washington's going with right now. Ryan Anderson, who's checked in for Russell. Anthony comes in for lights out. The Mavericks subbed in for Doc. Outside Rose. Shot clock at 6. Butler up top. Yes. And it's Rose with the assist that time. 8 points for Butler.
Nothing but money for them to start the half. They've made all 3 of their shot attempts.
Back to Anderson. Fires the 3. And the Wizards hit again from deep.
The D with very little pressure on their perimeter shooters. 3 of the last 5 baskets they've allowed have been of the 3-point variety.
Yeah, and unless they make some rotations and closeouts defensively, there's more to come, Clark.
Outside Boozer. On the wing, Dang. Tries it from 19. Here's Noah. Boozer, no luck. Noah's shot is off.
He's far too tentative in the paint, and even more so when the defender is up tight on him like that time.
No good from Clutch.
You know, with Derrick Rose out, a lot of people thought the Bulls would flounder last season, guys, but they were still one of the tougher teams in all of the East, in part because the culture of toughness and next man up has been instilled in that group from its coaching staff, starting with Tom Thibodeau. I don't think this takes away anything from how great Rose is, but I think it certainly speaks to how bought in and committed to the team that every man on that roster is.
Ozzie Muhammad checked in for the Bulls.
But you have to get a hand into his face because that's his range right there.
Rose double teamed. Muhammad dishes to Butler. And there's the foul. It goes on Ryan Anderson. That's his first foul. Butler kicks to Rose. Lays it up and banks it in. Rose has got 14 points. Well, back to the Chicago Bulls team, you got to give a lot of credit to the culture of defense and effort that Coach Tom Thibodeau has created there, Steve.
Well, they weathered Rose's absence remarkably well. You know, advancing in the playoffs, giving Miami all it could handle. And you wonder, you know, with the healthy Rose now and all these other players having developed, is Chicago a championship caliber team? I think they are.
I agree. Butler passes to Rose. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here. And here on our 2K leaderboard, you see a breakdown of the best free throw shooting centers and power forwards over the past month. Carlos Boozer, number 1. Second is Taj Gibson.
That's a very confident group of players at the foul line. You know, we've seen a lot of guys at that size struggle from the free throw line. But these are good shooters here.
I want to check you on that now. Not all big guys struggle at the stripe, Steve. I mean, I know you're a little fella, but there are some excellent free throw shooting big men around. None more so than the group here.
Catching up on the changes for Chicago. Noah comes in for Muhammad. That's Dunleavy in for Luol Deng. Feeds it to Butler. It's good. This time the assist from Rose. And that's 12 points for Butler.
Guys, he shot a very good percentage today, and they've needed it.
Lynn, the basket drops, and he gets fouled on the shot. One free throw coming his way. Kirk Hinrich, he's checked in for Chicago. And a closer look here at the scoring breakdown for the Wizards.
How about the three-point shooting we're seeing so far, guys? Amazing.
They've also been pounding it inside tonight and coming away with a lot of points in the paint. I call those PIPs.
For Chicago, they have been good at the line so far, 5 of 5.
Well, they were a fairly decent free throw shooting team a year ago, Kevin, about 77% from the line.
You know, success at the line just became contagious for them. A few guys got on a roll, and it carried over to the rest of the team. You know, Mike Dunleavy, the former number 3 overall pick back in 2002, you know, he hasn't been a star, but boy, has he been steady and productive in a very long and solid NBA career.
And Dunleavy, very skilled at 6'9".
Yeah, he put up some pretty good numbers in Indiana for a while. He can pass, shoot, handle the ball. Son of a coach, of course, Mike Dunleavy Sr. You can see where Dunleavy Jr. gets his understanding of the game.
Hinrich kicks the ball. Knocked away. Down low, here's Novak. Smooth as silk on the finger roll. And now it's an 11-point Washington lead. Kicks it to Gibson. With the fadeaway. Good. Gibson's got his second basket.
They've worked the ball around very well. And I'll tell you what, they continue to find good looks from mid-range.
Well, they're just taking what the defense is giving them because the defenders are backing off and daring them to shoot. Really quite surprising to see the huge edge they have in rebounds given what the scoreboard says.
Man, it's not typical. I mean, they have been really dominant on the glass.
Here's Maverick. No good. Nice D from Kirk Heinrich. 7-second difference, shot and game clock. Anthony, the pass to Maverick. And again, Washington, no good. And the foul on Carmelo Anthony. That's his third foul so far. Bonus situation in effect, so we'll head to the free throw line for 2. Bulls have shot the ball well from the free throw line, 8 of 9. Chicago making a switch here. That's good from Gibson.
Boy, they came out of the locker room at halftime with a much more physical disposition than they had in the first half.
Sure helps that they've gotten extra trips to the foul line here in the second, and that has to continue if they're going to complete this comeback.
No good from Long. Heinrich with it. One second left. Off target. And offensively, a great show for the fans through the first 3 quarters. And the final period of play just about to start. Bulls trail by 7. We've got lights out. Anthony out there with Russell. And it's Clutch and it's Dodd in a shooting guard. That's the group on the floor right now for Washington. Rose goes in. Stolen.
Well, as a coach, that kind of turnover just drives you nuts.
And that's because it should never happen, Steve. I mean, it just shouldn't.
Chance now to check out the Washington Wizards' upcoming schedule. They'll host the Denver Nuggets after this one. That'll be the second of 5 straight played at home.
A lot of attention on the Nuggets. You know, that Denver game really is interesting to watch.
And good on the second, so he makes them both. Bulls shooting 53% from the floor. They're locked in. And it's lights out with the foul. That's his first foul. Now here's Rose. Guarded closely. And finished off by Noah.
Maybe that'll ignite him. I mean, impossible not to get pumped up after that. At least I think that would be the case.
Well, you can see the immediate reaction of the guys on the bench. They are. Look at them. They are pumped up.
Yeah, they're deep. That's what those alley-oops do, though. They're killing them with that three-point shot here in the second half.
Well, the defense fully stretched out trying to stop that shot and still not able to get it done.
And a foul called on the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot 2 right here.
Excellent game we've seen from Derrick Rose. 16 points, and his huge assist tally makes it all the more impressive.
Well, and he's got this team in such a good groove right now. The way he's moving the ball and passing, getting everybody involved, they're in a great flow.
Chicago making a switch here. Gibson's checked in. Pass to Long. And a miss there on the triple. Bulls trail by 8. Rose goes in. That's blocked. Pass to Long. Pulls up on the wing. And that's good off the glass that time. Long's got 7 points here in this quarter.
A large part of what they've been able to do here is centered around his offense.
For the Wizards, Mikhail comes in for Carmelo Anthony. And it's Harden in for lights out. Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
Hi, guys. Over that break, I was able to catch the message Tom Thibodeau was giving to his team. He is not happy with their perimeter defense, saying, guys, way too many open shots for them beyond the three-point line. We've got to press up closer and try to crowd them off the arc. Guys, we'll see if they got the message.
And thank you for that, Doris. Then kicks to Rose. And there's the foul. It's on Clutch. That will get him his 4th foul of the game.
It's his 4th foul, and I'm sure he picked it up a little earlier than he would have liked.
And Butler, here we go. And there's Joakim Noah on the assist by Butler. Butler's got 4 assists in the game.
Well, I tell you what, I need to see some more assertiveness out of these defenders. They're not getting the job done.
Yeah, that's 10 of the last 12 points they've allowed on good looks right at the rim.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
And guys, this is just too close of a game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition.
Harden's shot is good.
It seems like they've given up far too many points from the three-point shot today. A lot of open looks out there.
I agree, Steve. The defensive rotations have been abysmal.
The kick out to Rose. And right away, they match it with a three-pointer of their own. Rose has got 11 points here in just the second half. Here's Clutch, who's covered by Rose. And that basket is going to count. Goaltending, the official call.
He almost got to that shot in time, but not quite. You can't touch the ball once it's on the way down.
Bulls trail by 6. Dishes to Butler. Back to Rose. Lays it in without an inch of room around him. Rose has got 23 points.
Pretty much all of their buckets coming from inside the paint now.
Yeah, that's 5 of their last 6 baskets inside the lane. They have really established themselves inside. Unstoppable offense from both teams. I love the pace this game has been played at.
So does everybody else in the building. This has been a fun one.
Outside Butler. Back to Rose. High, arcing shot. And he's knocked off course by the D. The foul called. He'll shoot free throws. The free throw drops for Rose.
He's simply just willing himself to the line here.
Carmelo Anthony's checked in for Washington. Lights out comes in for James Harden.
And he's doing a great job at the charity stripe. It's easy to overlook, but those freebies can make the difference.
Doc defended by Butler. No good from Doc.
They've clearly been the better team on the glass, but it hasn't necessarily translated to the scoreboard yet.
But you feel like it's going to reward this team at some point. They've got to continue to maintain the energy. This has really become an intense ball game ever since halftime.
Boy, the effort from both teams here, Steve, is terrific.
Here's Hugh. No good from outside.
Remember, he was hot early, 3 3-pointers in the first half, but he may have to start putting the ball on the floor. His shot's not working here in the second.
Gibson dishes to Rose. He kicks it to Butler. Rose to tie it up. Russell with the block, but they'll get another chance. 3 on the clock. And Dang, here we go. Over Russell. And again, Luol Deng. Deng's got 6 in the quarter.
I think they need to get much more disruptive defensively. They can't just keep allowing these easy baskets.
I agree. They need more energy in the post, maybe some double teaming. They've got to get their defense in gear. Well, the shot was there for him, and he had to take it. I don't care if he didn't convert it. He's got to take that every time.
And there's the foul. It's on Clutch. That'll be foul number 5 on him, and good the bonus for the head to the free throw. And the Bulls making a change here. Boozer's checked in.
That was critical, guys. Absolutely critical, and that's what we're used to seeing out of him.
And there's the pass to Doc. And no good. The dry spell continuing for him. Butler attacking. Uses both hands to slam it down. There it is, guys. That Olay defense. Just watching him go, Clark, right by.
I think we might be seeing which team is ready to take control of this game.
Yeah, that's a dunk that could absolutely get them going. I agree, Clark.
Good. And he has brought them to within 2 points.
That is a clutch shot if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, man, gutsy there. What more can you say? He got it done at the best time.
Clutch the pass to Doc. Shot from the wing. Here's Russell. Money. A huge shot to tie it up.
You got to put bodies on the glass right there. They just are not getting it done on the boards.
Yeah, they've got to do a much better job of going harder than that to the glass.
And a new group getting ready for the Wizards. Kevin McHale, he checked in for Russell. Anderson comes in for lights out. James Harden, he's checked in for Doc. The Mavericks sub in for Clutch. Another shot. Cannot hit. McHale with some nice D. Now 8 seconds separating the 2 clocks. Harden with it. Butler covering. And Anderson kicks to Harden. Rockets 6. He passes to Mathis. The dish to Carmelo. Shaq's up with 3. Right between the eyes. Chicago calls timeout. They're trailing by 3. 9 seconds left in the game. Guys, your thoughts?
Well, down 3, you don't necessarily have to go for the 3. You could go for the quick bucket and then the foul.
I'm not sure. I mean, in this situation, I think they should look for the 3, Steve. I mean, try to tie this thing up. You've got 3-point shooters. Let it fly.
Rose dishes to Butler. Will it go? And the shot is long.
That's a shot he's got to hit. You don't get too many better looks from that lane.
And so it's Washington. This script.
We make it cool to be something. 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 On my grandmama pole. Hollywood never to the southern eye approach. Kind of green pockets, but a southern fried to flow.